So this is the part 2. So you see we had determined the direction of each component, and one more thing I want to add before we start resolving the components of these three forces is that this is a Cartesian plane, and I want to consider all the directions in the horizontal components. This side to be positive and this side to be negative, upwards to be positive and downwards to be negative. So once we have that in mind, we can now go ahead and start uh, solving for the vertical, rather looking at the vertical components of these three forces. So on one side, I want to say FV. So these are the sum of all vertical components. And this side, I want to say FH. So these will form horizontal components. So I'll start with F1. So vertical component of F1 is equals to F1 sine 20 degrees. So let's just pick another pen. Right, so we have F1 sine 20 degrees is equals to, so we know that F1 here is 200 newtons sine 20 degrees. So what does that give us? Then we have F2. So F2 is the angle that is subtended, or at the angle between the horizontal plane and F2 is 165 degrees. So we have F2 sine 165 degrees. So F2 is given as 400 newtons. So we get 400 newtons sine 165 degrees. So we'll work that out. Then finally we have F3 sine. So F3 is subtended by 250 degrees. So sine 250 degrees. So F3 is 500 newtons. 500 newtons. Then you have sine 250. Sine 250 degrees. So just as we had agreed, we have to look at the direction. So this will be positive. So this will be positive here. So look at this, F1 in the vertical direction. So F1, this is F1 in the vertical direction. So this will be positive, okay? And F2 in the vertical direction is also positive, okay? So this should be positive. Then this one is going to be positive. Now let's look at F3. So F3 is downwards, and we say all forces that are pointing downwards are negative. So we put it negative. Okay. So it will be negative. Okay. So let's see. 500 sine 250. So we'll get negative 469.85 newtons. Now that negative is coming from this sine 250 degrees. So just put it the way it is. Then we have 400 sine 165. That gives us 103.52. So this should be 53 if we round it off. Yes, 53 newtons. And let's see this one, 200 sine 20. So we have 68.4 newtons. So we have solved the vertical components. Now let's look at horizontal components. We shall have F1 cos 20, and that is 200 cos 20 degrees, and we'll look at the answer. Then you have F2 cos 165 degrees. And then you have so F2 is 400 newtons. So 400 newtons cos 165 degrees. Then so that one, we'll look at the answer. Then we have F3 cos 250 degrees. So we have 500 cos 250 degrees. Okay, so let's look at the answer. So this is 200 cos 20. That will give us 189 point. Sorry, it should be 187. So this should be 187.94 newtons. Then here we have 400 cos 165. So now this gives us negative 386.37 newtons. Now what about these 500 cos 250? We also get negative 171.01 newtons. So once you are done with getting the vertical and the horizontal components, we go ahead and add all these on one side and add this on another side. So we get the sum. So we get the sum of the components So see you in the next video as we get the sum of the components of these three coplanar forces. Okay, so again, look at this. F1 upward, positive, then F2 also on this side, but is in this Cartesian, also negative because it is in this Cartesian. So let's look at the third section where we're going to get the sum of the components.